Big day for us driving into the city.
Because we are hosting our first
San Francisco Filmmakers Meetup.
Got a little giveaway going on here. We'll be giving that away tonight. Enter people in a raffle. And this is the room we're working with. I think they're gonna take those down. They were just finishing up some new art pieces. But it's a cool spot.
5 months back, David Moorfield came to town for a gig that he had in San Francisco. While he was here, he hosted a filmmakers meetup at this same bar. And after the event, he put everyone in a group chat. And I ended up landing some great connections from that. And after that event, about several months later, he encouraged me to host another meetup and work to build community out here more in the San Francisco Bay Area. Not just the solo one-on-one coffees I grab with people, because I do lots of that, but try to build more of a community that more people can benefit from. And so I decided to follow his advice and go ahead and host another meetup. I announced this on my YouTube channel, announced this on my Instagram, and there's a private link to the event. So everyone who turned out, they had to find that private link somehow, and it was only distributed through my YouTube and through my Instagram and texted to a few friends. So it was really cool, the crowd that came out. I'd say probably about 80% of the people were working professionals in the industry, and there were so many new faces that I had never met before. The vibe was positive, supportive, and collaborative. I didn't feel like people were competing with each other. I felt like they were trying to understand each other and make good connections. And I talked to every single person in the room, so I did get a pretty good vibe check, and the vibe was really awesome. It was a vibe that really encouraged me and uplifted me and felt like we might have something special going on here. Michael Crocker and I carpooled together, and our whole ride back home, we just chatted about all the awesome people we met, and we were both just psyched. I immediately added everyone to the group chat that David Moorfield started, and I introduced myself and encouraged other people to start introducing themselves. And then I individually messaged pretty much everyone who came to the event and just thanked them for coming out, kind of as another way to get a conversation going. Also, people from the last filmmakers meetup, the one that David hosted, also jumped in the group chat and introduced themselves as well, and they all seemed to blend together pretty smoothly. A few days after the event, my buddy Alex posted a job in the chat, and it filled up really quick. A few days after that, Angel, the winner of our giveaway, posted a clip of some crew he was working with using his new sack.
Sacked up.
It's the week after our meetup, and today we're grabbing coffee with someone from the meetup.
I absolutely enjoyed this conversation. I was meeting with Casey Bruce. He owns a small production company here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we had so much to talk about. It was so fascinating hearing his story, how he got where he's at, what's working well for him, what isn't working well for him. And he had a crazy story for me about how he said yes to being a hand model for some photography shoot, and that ended up landing him a video shoot like a month ago with the North Face. So he went from hand model to video shoot for the North Face. So if you want to hear that story, you should connect with him. Send him a message on Instagram. Really cool guy. Later that day, I had a call with Owen Carr, who's in the Sacramento-ish area, and we had the chance to connect. He was at the meetup, and we talked a little bit, but I wanted to talk more with him. He seemed like an interesting guy, and by golly, he absolutely is. He is the cinematographer for a YouTube channel that's absolutely popping off, and he's actually co-owner of the YouTube channel, so he has a profit split with the creator that he's working with. So I think that's really fascinating. He produces these high-end videos for a YouTuber, and then the YouTuber shares the profit with him. That's pretty cool, and I definitely feel like there's probably a growing future in that. Really cool guy, though. If you're interested in that kind of thing, he's a cool guy to connect with. The very next day, we drove into the city to grab coffee with another person from the meetup, Ricardo Serrano. Now, Ricardo is a graphics and motion graphics designer who grew up in Spain and then did work in Spain and then moved to the UK, did work in the UK, and then moved to LA and recently moved to San Francisco, and he's looking to build community. And he was absolutely inspired by the event last night. He said he the day, it was a few days before this, but he said the next day after the event, he just woke up like excited and inspired just because of all the creative people that he was around and new friends that he had made. And I thought that was so cool. We got to dig into his work a little bit, and it's honestly phenomenal from what I've seen. There's a lot of stuff he can't show because of non-disclosure agreements, but he can send it to you individually. But really talented guy, and he's very open to doing passion projects. So if you have a passion project and you're in the area and you'd like to work with a talented motion graphics designer, he'd be a really cool one to work with. And he's got some cool ideas. After that meeting, I drove straight to another part of San Francisco to meet up with Will Orantes. Will is a producer and creative director who's been in the industry, I think about 10, 15 years. He's done many different roles over the years. He's well established, knows lots of people, and he's launching his own production company. And recently he even did a really, really cool spec project for Rivian. We both have kids, and we just immediately clicked and really liked each other, and time just flew. So I'm pretty sure him and I will do something together. This is a little bit embarrassing, but I wanted to prove that I've been using my new gym membership to build muscle so I don't get injured on shoots because I've been struggling with some pain from carrying my heavy camera all day. And I wanted to set up my camera to film myself, but I didn't want people to see me setting up a camera, so this is the angle I ended up with, and now that I'm staring at it, it's kind of weird. But I'm in the gym. The next day, Colt Bradley from our filmmakers meetup invited us all to something called the Video Consortium, and I wasn't so sure about it, but then did a little research, and it sounded cool, so I decided, why not? Let's go to this event. Apparently, Colt is helping host it, and he said there should be a good amount of documentary-style filmmakers there. So let's go. It's in Oakland. I haven't been to this part of Oakland before, but literally every building was tagged. The people were super cool. A few people from our meetup were there, which was really awesome. And it was good vibes all around. I met a lot of actually cool producers. Like the room was just absolutely filled with producers and some actors, and then a few DPs and writers and photographers, but mainly producers, which was a little different for me. But it was a really cool meetup. I'm glad I went, and I'm glad I got to talk with Colt more too. He's a really cool person. There's definitely a buzzing film community in Oakland, in the Oakland East Bay area, which is cool to see. It's cool to tap into a little bit. I want to meet more people in that community. Later that night, I was scrolling through Instagram, and I saw that Will, the producer, creative director that I met earlier in the week for coffee, was looking for a camera operator to help him with a shoot that he had this Friday, and it was a passion shoot. It was unpaid. And I didn't have anything going on, and I hadn't filmed anything that week, and I had just been itching to shoot something. So I thought, why not? He said he would cover gas and our expenses, so might as well get some practice in. Next thing you know, we're in Petaluma. The crew that came out today includes Will, his business partner Kevin Kumar, who I was pretty excited to meet, and Nick Dolph, who actually was the first DP in the Bay Area to grab lunch with me. And something exciting about this is Nick owns a Sony Burano, and he brought it out today. So Nick and I will be shooting interviews, FX9 Sony Burano, and Will and Kevin will be grabbing B-roll of an event that's happening on their Blackmagics. Even though he had an event to film, Kevin made sure we were properly set up before he started focusing on his footage, and he helped us with a lot of gear and moved us a lot quicker, which I really appreciate. And the same with Will. And after reading the situation, Will realized that actually it was time for him to step in as a director because there's too much for me and Nick to focus on during these interviews, and we just weren't going to be able to ask the questions. So Will changed plans, and became our producer who would ask the questions. I'm going to play this clip one more time just to show the lighting setup we got going on. So for our key light, we've got the Zhiyun G300. This came in super handy. We were using the aperture 600D, but it was too much, and we wanted something bicolor, so we threw that up, gave it some extra diffusion, and it worked as a very nice key. And then we have the Amaran 200X with a lantern softbox over on the left as a fill, and then in the background we have the Zhiyun C100 tube light that's kind of lighting up some of the bookshelves. So big shout out to Zhiyun for sending me those lights. They came in clutch today. This is what Nick's frame was looking like. He really wanted a natural look that didn't look too artificial, but wanted to work with the room and keep it natural. And then when we move over to my camera, this is what my frame was looking like. Nice and tight, and as much background blur as we could get. We were using Nick's Nisi Athena primes at T1.9, and I had to keep my hand on the focus because as our subjects moved around, they would go in and out of focus. So it was tight, but that was a fun challenge. This is not the final look. I just threw a color space transform on this. They're planning to use a phantom LUT to match our two cameras together. But this is what the audio sounded like from my boom mic.
Through their experiences and through what I'm giving them. So yeah, I just feel like I know what they haven't been served because that was my experience. And so
as time went on, the sun went away, and we had to get creative with our lighting.
No catfish look at any of this. It's all wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong.
But the image looks nice.
It looks nice.
8, 9, 10.
Let's bring it back to 7 or 8.
Okay, this is 7.
Sorry. All right, let's hold it on that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
When the sun eventually completely went away, Nick came up with a cool idea. Let's shift everything around and give it a warm, cozy kind of look. And so we shifted the Kelvin on everything, completely relit the room, and take a look at this kind of glimpse of what it looked like. It went from looking like a daylight kind of looking through the window, like a daytime in the library, to like a cozy fireplace kind of warm feeling in the library interview. I thought that was super clever of Nick. Definitely cool seeing how he troubleshoots these different scenarios. Also, shout out to Will for conducting 2 hours straight of interviews. Woo! After we wrapped the 10th interview, we broke everything down and it was time to go. Also got to give another big shout out to Kevin. He immediately, he made sure we got all the B-roll we needed of the event. He held us down there. And then as soon as he was free, he came in to help us as quickly as he could tear down gear. And then he unloaded all of our drives right away, all of our cards right away. So we didn't have to worry about that at all. So thank you, Kevin. Then we rolled everything to our cars, chatted a little bit more, and said our goodbyes. I'm really grateful I took the time to do this today. Not only was it good practice, but it honestly bonded me to these guys more than I think I ever would have been. There's just some things you learn about people by working with them that you'll never learn until you work with them. So this was so valuable to me, and I'm so glad I said yes to this. After we rolled out of there, Will and I grabbed some In-N-Out and just did midnight brainstorming on what was left of our brains. And that's what happened a week after I hosted a filmmakers meetup in San Francisco. And I'm really curious what else this will lead to. If you work in the film industry and you live in the Bay Area and you want to connect with me too, here's my Instagram. And if you'd like to work with me, here's my website. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I hope you have a good one. See ya.